All right, cool. We're live. Intro time. Hey guys, you know what time it is. It's time for the 9th installment of Chaos Under Heaven, where we talk about current events, politics, economics, philosophy, theory, and various other topics from a far-left Marxian perspective. And today, I'm joined by 3 guests. I'm joined by Wicker, Autobol, and F.V.K. And today we've got a number of topics in the bag for you. First, we're going to cover a video of a recent police shooting, and we're going to talk about the fact that Trump knew about coronavirus. We're going to talk about the California fires. We're going to talk about Kaitlin Bennett and a few other topics from my guests. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And how are you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm great. How y'all doing?
I'm doing
all right.
Very well.
That's good. That's good. All right. So the first thing I have on the agenda right now is actually, no, not my live stream. The first thing I have on the agenda right now is this video. So this guy was pulled over apparently for expired tags. We'll go through the article first because I feel like we ought to do that first before we actually watch the video. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead. I have it right here. I'm going to go ahead and screen share with you guys. All right, you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so man accused of shooting 2 Tulsa police officers in custody after manhunts. You guys want to just take turns reading it, or should I just read it?
You go ahead.
Okay. David Ware is now in custody after he was tracked down at home, police in Tulsa say. A second suspect is also in custody. Second suspect? I thought it was just him. The suspect identified as David Ware, 32. CBS affiliate Koto identified the wounded officer, Sergeant Craig Johnson, and Officer Arish Sarkishan, however the fuck you pronounce his name. Johnson passed away from his injuries Tuesday, the department confirmed, while the other officer remains in critical condition. Chief Wendell Franklin said it was about 3:30 a.m. when officers first pulled Ware over and asked him to exit his vehicle because the vehicle needed to be towed due to taxes due to the state. So they were trying to seize his car because he owed some money in back taxes to the state. And he refused to comply. Koto reported that after the shooting, police said the suspect left the scene in another vehicle driven by a second suspect. The manhunt for Ware lasted several hours before he was tracked down at home. He surrendered and was arrested. The driver of the second vehicle was also taken into custody and identified as a suspect. All right, so that's it. So let's go ahead and pull up this video. I got it in my watch later. So I'm going to go ahead and play this at 1.5 times speed, just for brevity's sake.
Shouldn't you give it like a trigger warning?
Oh yeah, trigger warning. This is graphic. I understand. Let me watch the fucking video. There we go. All right. All right. Speaking of cops, I hear them outside.
So you go westbound up first. That one right there? Yeah. Yes, I just used it. Here's this. So one jackpot, so they have my license. Yeah, I'm not worried about the jackpot right now. So what I need you to do is step out of the vehicle. What? Well, first let me ask you one more time. Do you have anything in the vehicle? I need.
Do you guys hear this all right?
Sounds a little funky.
I hear it fine.
Yeah, I mean it's the body cam mic quality, so not much.
Try turning on CC, closed captions.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Why are you shining at my face? I keep I'm trying to talk to you, but you're shining at my.
Do you have anything in the vehicle? Because you got a history of narcotics.
I know, and y'all always fuck with me just because I have a history. Can I get my ticket and fucking go, man?
Well,
Dude, I know my fucking rights, dude. Can can I get my ticket and go, dude? I pulled in front of him. I'm sorry.
David.
I'm just trying to go to my house, man.
David.
I got people waiting on me,
David.
dude.
Stop talking. Here's what's gonna
I don't
happen.
have a history of narcotics. What do you fucking say?
Drug criminal, narcotics, whatever it is. You got a
Oh
history.
my god, that got dropped. That got dropped.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Yeah. Okay, what? Are you guys there? Anyone alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I thought someone said okay. My bad.
Look, you can't.
Hang on,
You
step.
can't take bullshit. Don't fucking open my door.
David, step out of the vehicle. Come on.
Daughter's tweet to help her dad's struggling taco business has been retweeted and liked thousands of times. The
Bye bye.
Well, I got green light, dude.
I pulled out in front of you. I had plenty of fucking room. This is
Step out of the car.
bullshit.
Step out of the car.
I'm not stepping out of the car.
Step out of the car.
Yeah, so they don't even arrest him, apparently. They just keep
I'm
telling
right
him to step
here.
out of the car.
I'm the sergeant. He's asking you to step out of the car.
I'm not stepping out of my car.
You have two choices. You can step out under your own power, or
This is bullshit, dude. I just got this car.
Okay.
Why can't you give me a fucking chance, dude? Like, fuck.
well, why don't you step out of the car and let us talk about it instead of
Because
sitting here?
I know my rights. I know.
Okay, right now,
Y'all are gonna fucking. I know how this
here's
works.
the deal. Right now, you're driving a car that's over 60 days due on the tag.
I'll get a tag.
You don't have insurance.
I do have insurance,
Where is it?
man.
But
Y'all
man,
can look it up. Y'all can look it
we
up.
can if you haven't got a tag. But we need you to step out of the car.
Now,
You have two choices. You can step out of the car,
or I can drag you out.
or we can tase you.
For what?
You're not.
This is y'all breaking.
Look, hey,
Y'all are.
step out of the car now.
This is my.
Do you
right.
want to get tased?
Why are y'all doing this?
Because you're refusing to follow a lawful order. I need you to step out of the
It's not
car.
lawful order.
It is a lawful order, and I will tase you if you do not get out of the car.
Man, this is.
You have a choice. Get out of the car under your own power,
Please call
or
the
I will.
supervisor.
I am the supervisor.
Please.
I'm a sergeant.
Hey, dude, just step out of the car right now. Otherwise, you are getting tased.
Do I need to arc it one more time?
So do you think these cops are in the right so far? Are they right to just arbitrarily drag this man out of his vehicle and you know, just, you know, are they right to basically take his car is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, politically where we are, I think everyone can agree that no, this is bullshit.
They're trying to steal his car, and this is like what I don't know if you guys are familiar with civil asset forfeiture, but apparently the cops can seize your property if they believe it's being used for a crime. Well, they're seizing this man's property
Yeah,
because he owes taxes to the state. This is like some feudal shit. This is like some shit you would hear out of the fucking Middle Ages, where like, oh, well, you owe taxes to the Lord. And you know, you've got like your locket, like your little golden locket your wife gave to you as like a dowry gift for marriage, and it's like this beautiful family heirloom, and you got to give it away to the king rather than just giving him fucking money when you can. Like, this is ridiculous, dude.
They
I have
are
a feeling that,
also
like-
heatedly escalating with the man rather than trying to actually explain anything. There are better ways to communicate what I guess they are trying to communicate than get out of the car, here's a taser.
Yeah, did they even specify that they were trying to like tow his car because of that? I didn't hear in the beginning of the video. Was that mentioned at all, or are they just saying get out of the car?
No, they're trying to bring up this bullshit. Like, they brought up a dropped narcotic charge. They brought up his expired tags, and they've said he doesn't have insurance, and you know, he assures them that he does. He probably does. But yeah, they pulled him over some expired tags apparently, and they just continue to escalate because that's all burger cops know how to do. Like, that's what they're trained to do. That's all they know how to do. And these motherfuckers are power tripping right now. So
What?
Step out of the vehicle now.
I don't have to.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Oh, I did it. Driving infraction. Please.
Yeah, and I told you already, you need to get out of the car because the car's getting towed, dude.
Why?
You need to step out. I'm about done arguing with you. If I have to tase
I
you,
just go home.
no, if I have to tase you, it is going to be that much worse.
Sir, can I please just go home?
Right now, I can arrest you for obstruction because you're failing to follow a lawful command. Step out of the car. I cannot be any more clear than that. If you step out and be cool, this will go a whole lot better than if you make me tase you and force you out of the car.
How can you do this, man?
Step out of the car.
Dude, y'all are violating my rights.
One more time.
They are, by the way.
Rights. That's my
Just a heads up, they are violating his rights. They can't just take his car like that.
force and fear.
Then
You're
okay.
violating my
Look,
rights.
I don't know where you got your law degree.
I don't have a law.
Then
degree.
shut up and get out of the car.
You don't have a law degree either, bitch.
I'm not getting out, dude. This is bullshit, dude. Call your supervisor.
I don't know if you guys know, but cops actually aren't familiar with all the laws on the book either. They pretty much just what they think is the law.
Mhm.
Like they aren't.
Yes.
Like they aren't actually like super well versed in the law themselves. Like if you pull up a lawyer, a lawyer's going to know the law 100 times better than a cop will.
Yeah, this actually like brings back a memory of something that happened to me. I remember there was this one time I got pulled over by an officer. They didn't say why I was getting pulled over, and they were like asking for my ID, and I was like, well, if I did something, like I'll show you my ID, like I just need to know what I did. And after a while, he eventually said, oh, well, you weren't wearing your seatbelt, which I knew was a lie. And we just kept going back and forth for a while. And I was like, no, I'm not getting out of my car. I mean, I literally had my seatbelt on, all that. And then he was like, well, now I smell weed in your car, so you had to get out, which my car, I know it didn't smell like weed at that time, but it just kind of reminded me of that because they'll just throw things at you and keep throwing things out you until you can get out of the car. But he actually said that's a very similar line to me. He said, when I was like, well, if I didn't do anything wrong, I don't have to give you my ID. He was like, oh, well, where did you learn the law or something like that? So that brought a little bit of a flashback to me.
Yeah.
Cops suck, dude.
I really want to make a point that, like, this is what these, like, if you were black, God forbid, because I mean, it's people like this who will shoot you on sight. God forbid if you're like illegal, because fucking cop can pull over for anything and like just send your ass back to wherever you came from. Because I mean, it's like they don't have to know the law. Like, they know that they have like the most power in the situation. So, they could do whatever the fuck they want with you. Even with women, they could sexually harass them and shit. It's happened so many times.
Yeah, like I read a story forever ago about a man that was only able to get out of an arrest. He was basically raped by this cop. Like he was forced to perform oral sex on this cop, at gunpoint, basically. And a threat of it, like arbitrary, like imprisonment and shit. Like it's fucking ridiculous. Like these guys get away with murder constantly. Like there's an article I read not too long ago. Apparently cops kill like 1,000 people per year, and I believe it. Anyways,
pretty sure like covering of like they're compensating.
Are you gonna get out or am I gonna tase you? Are you going to get out of the car or do I tase you?
I'm not.
Get out of the.
I'm not gonna lie. We're like 5 minutes in, and this lasted way longer than if he were black. Like I'm willing to bet if he were black, this wouldn't have been a 10-minute video. This would have been like 3 minutes or less.
Absolutely.
The car.
Danger, please don't tase me, sir.
Then get out of the car.
Please, sir.
That's it.
Please, sir.
Step out. Come on.
Please, sir, stop this.
Step out.
Call the supervisor, please.
Do you see this?
I want your supervisor.
Well, she's not here. That would be the captain. Step out of the car. Now.
Please. Please.
Hey, don't be reaching for.
Help, Matt.
Dude, get off the phone now. We're gonna. That's it. I'm gonna tase you in 3, 2, 1. Do you want it or not?
Please don't
step out of the car.
I'm not.
Step out of the vehicle now.
No, I know my rights.
You know nothing. Get out of the car.
You You can't shoot me. I'm not doing anything.
I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to tase you. There is a difference. Or I can deploy OCs because you've been given a lawful command to step out of the car.
Lawful command to step out of the car? I don't have to.
Get out of the car or I will tase you and I will drag you.
Matt, please come over here and witness this.
No. Get out of the car.
By Dollar General pulled in the
David Allen Ware.
Please.
What's his name?
David Anthony Ware.
David,
Please.
step out.
Matt, pull up.
Step out of the car. If he comes,
Matt,
Matt,
smart.
just
You're not out
videotape
here.
it.
David?
Videotape it, please.
3, then you need to step out. You can turn on your own camera, but you're on both of our cameras.
Well, that
Step,
explains
David,
Write me my ticket.
David, step out of the car. I'm not going to tell you again. Get out of the car now.
This is a driving infraction. Please, sir.
Get out of the car because I have to tow it. And I can't tow it with you in it.
You don't have to tow it.
Get out.
I told you I'm towing it.
Bullshit. Why?
Get out of the car.
You don't have insurance.
I do have a license and I do have insurance.
David, step out of the
I
car.
do have it. Let me look for it then.
David, get out of the car and I will find it.
No, y'all, this is my car, y'all. Don't
Taser. I'm going to hit him. Are you ready?
Just fucking
Get out of the car.
fuck you, dude. Oh! What the fuck?
Get out of the car.
Get out! Fuck! What the fuck?
Tell you what though, he took that tasing like a champ. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would definitely say.
Yeah, that like I don't know if you guys have ever been hit by a taser, but it's not fun.
You want to spray?
No.
Get out!
Okay.
Now!
I'm getting out.
Get out of the damn car! Now or I will spray you!
Fucking ground.
On the ground!
On the ground, man. I don't want to go to jail, man.
Get out of the car! Get out now! I will spray you again!
Okay.
Get on the ground!
Wait, why are they arresting him? What the fuck?
Get on the ground.
Get on the
Like seriously, he was about to comply, and then they fucking like, no, get on the ground, and then they're fucking. This is a shit show, dude.
ground now!
It was like first it was like get out of the car and then like get on the ground, and it's like, you know, it's just one thing more after another. It's like they could have just got him out of the vehicle and then just like de-escalated, but
Yeah, all they had to do, like all they could have done was just told him the truth. You know, be like, yo, you owe some money to the government. Like, you got to get that taken care of. And be like, and by the way, your tags are expired. Here's a ticket. Have a nice day. That's all they had to do. Like they did. None of this is fucking necessary. That's all I'm saying. This is ridiculous.
I really hope that like the fascists and the bootlickers who, like, I don't know, if anyone stumbles who's like, you know, supports the police or whatever, or it's like, you know, you want to like shoot black people or whatever and like be like a fascist lynch mob, I hope you know that like this shit is gonna happen to you like someday. Like, you know, once you're useless to like, you know, the apparatus that is like, you know, the US empire, like, you know, they're gonna shoot your ass too. Like same thing that happened with like, you know, the SA back in the 30s.
Oh, the Freikorps.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, they'll fucking throw you out when like, you know, you're disposable or whatever. Like, they'll find anything to book you.
Oh yeah, there's no loyalty on the right wing, none whatsoever. They don't know the meaning of the word solidarity, and that's why in the end they will fail.
Please stop! Please!
Get out of the fucking car!
Why are you doing this?
Get out!
Why are you doing this? Please stop! Help!
Get out of the car!
Violate my rights!
Get out of the
Help,
car!
please! Matt, please help! That's my friend, please help! Stop! You're violating my rights!
David,
Stop!
get out of the car!
Stop!
Stay in the car!
Matt, help!
Left arm.
Help!
I got this arm.
Matt, help! Help! Help!
Get out of the car!
Help!
running in here. David, you want to get sprayed? I'm going to spray you again. Get out of the car! Get out! You got him? What the? What? You got him? What the? What?
Nice shot.
That guy tanked though. What's it called?
Whoa,
He tanked
shit.
that pepper spray.
Oh yeah, like he took it like a champ. But yeah, so what I was gonna say about this is this kind of reminds me, like, have you guys seen The Joker? Just curious.
No.
Yeah, I have.
So this kind of reminds me of that scene in The Joker when he's in the subway and he's being roughed up by those banker dudes, and you know, they back him into a corner. You've got like this mentally ill dude that they're, you know, backing into a corner, and then, you know, he pulls a gun out and he caps him. That's what this reminds me of, because I don't know if you guys noticed like his speaking impediment, but the dude kind of sounded like he had something wrong with him. Maybe not, but I mean, that's what happened. They backed him into a corner, and I'm not gonna lie, you know, I don't think he was in the wrong at all here. Like, I legitimately believe this was, if these guys didn't have badges, this would be self-defense. But because they do have badges, he's probably gonna go to prison for the rest of his life.
There was absolutely no reason for
I would
anybody
like
to
to just
get
like throw
hurt
my
in this
opinion real quick.
situation.
Like,
Go for it.
yeah, whenever anything like this happens, my advice is always, whenever the police seem like they're actually like threatening violence at you, no matter how bad they're violating your rights, like, you should just comply just because you want to save your life, especially if you're like a person of color. But ultimately, like politically, like you guys said, I mean, they were violating his rights. So on that point of view, I do like, you know, think he's like defensible. But you know, we've seen like sovereign citizen videos in the past where, like, you know, these guys won't comply at all, and it can create this kind of atmosphere. But like you said, I mean, he did seem like mentally disturbed, and it's just another great example of like, you don't like treat something like that with force. Like, it's just like throwing gasoline on a fire. So you're going to put even your officers at risk if you do shit like that. So,
Which is exactly what happened. If you looked into the thing, one of the two officers did die from the injuries. Johnson, which I believe was the sergeant that was speaking.
Yeah. No, the dude actually had good aim. Like, if we roll the clip back, you know, he like capped the other dude, and he turns around, and while the sergeant's screaming, he just caps him in the head, and then that's it. But yeah, no, let's go to the comments. You guys ready to read some comments from some subhuman bootlickers?
Sure.
Let's do it. Like,
I have a feeling that they're going to be like fascists that kind of like, you know, revere this guy because he's white and like, you know, he quote unquote goes against like the system or something.
No,
but then, like, you know,
no, the fascists are right here. The ending is one of the worst I've ever seen on this channel. Really makes me. Why are you like? Do people just not like? There are like video montages of like massive amounts of police brutality that have taken place over the last 3 months. There's like 20-something dead protesters because of the police, you know, over the course of the George Floyd protests. I don't know if you ever see the video of the 19-year-old kid who got shot in the head with a rubber bullet by a sniper?
I think I have.
Yeah, like the kid died. Like, they don't fuck around, dude. Rubber bullets kill. Like, you're supposed to shoot them at the floor and then ricochet them off the floor to hit the person, but cops just shoot people directly with the rubber bullets. Like, that shit kills, dude. Like, you can get some serious brain hemorrhaging if you get hit in the head with one of those. Anyways, how does a trained officer allow someone to reach into a car even after? Yeah, no, and you'll notice by going through these comments, it's not about what the cops were doing, but what they should have done. The cops should have been even more aggressive. They should have been acted with even more lethal force. And now this video is going to be taught at police academies, like, why you got to be an even more aggressive authoritarian fuck, because if you don't act first, they're going to get you, you know? Like,
Well, they did act first. They just failed. To imply that they were the ones not in power in that situation is not true. They held all the power in the situation, misused that power, failed to execute that power, and were, unfortunately, one of them lost their life in that altercation, and the other one is apparently still in critical condition.
These officers really.
Unfortunately.
Hey, man.
Well, then again, we don't want traction, so yeah, it is unfortunate.
These officers really gave him way too much time. It really sucks. Yeah, so it's about, the officers didn't act soon enough. They weren't aggressive enough. They should have, they should have just shot him dead on the spot when, he didn't get out of the car,
Yeah, and I know we shouldn't be like surprised at like the hypocrisy of the right wing, but there's actually something that happened here in outside of Memphis, in West Memphis. There was some sovereign citizen. It was like a dad and a son, and they had like an incident where they were pulled over and they weren't complying at all, and they ended up like shooting the police. And so of course you see all these right wing people saying stuff like, "Oh well, those cops were violating their rights" and stuff like that. So they are very selective of when they do that.
Why didn't they use a taser? Look how effective it was. Yeah, no, I'm glad to see that there isn't nothing but bootlicks in here. Some of these comments people are like, simply get out of the car and listen. He didn't. Oh my God. Never mind. It is full of bootlicks. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't feel any empathy or sympathy for these cops whatsoever. All they had to do was stop fucking power tripping for like one moment in their life, and they'd both still be perfectly fine. That one guy would still be alive. The other guy wouldn't be almost about to die on the brink of death right now. All they had to do was go, 10 minutes without fucking power tripping? But they couldn't do that, so all they did is escalate. I'm gonna fuck with this guy. Yeah, I mean, it just, I feel vindicated.
Well, when you are the person with the authority in a situation, it is your responsibility to use that authority correctly. That person, how people respond to you is on you. If he did not have the training to be able to get a guy that honestly wasn't that combative, he was just like, I don't understand what's happening. That is not that man's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. All right, so I guess it's time to move on. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
I mean, I still feel like this is gonna appeal to the specific type of fascists who they revere things like Waco or whatnot. Like, oh, they hate the feds or whatever, but they're still fascists. So I mean, I have a feeling they're gonna hail this and be like, oh yeah, this is so based or something or whatever, but not for the right reasons.
Maybe what I can see are ideologically principled libertarians hailing this guy because the cops were literally trying to seize his property, and these are the hardline taxationist theft type people. I wonder what they're going to have to say about all this. Are they still going to? They're going to.
They're not going to have anything to say about him because he's low class and looks like it.
Oh, yeah, good point. Anyways, let's talk about these California wildfires. All right, cool. I've only got a Wikipedia article so far, but we'll go and start with CIApedia. All right, cool. So, yeah, I'll donate later. Wicker, what was it you said? These fires were started by what again?
Not all of them, but a significant portion of the California wildfires, specifically around 10,000 acres around the area of El Dorado Ranch Park, were caused by a specific gender reveal party that had pyrotechnics go haywire.
Ah, interesting. Wow, all right.
Yeah, this happened almost exactly a month ago. August 16th and 17th were the dates of the fires that were caused directly by it, which is just really fun. It's good information. Don't Smokey the Bear is going to get you.
Yeah, so this isn't very good optics for the LGBT community. I mean, the fires were going to start up anyways. I mean, I feel like the more systematic cause for this is really climate change because there's more drought and dryness and like less
Mhm.
humidity. Like, I'm just saying, like, it could be anything that sets these fires off. I mean, they could legitimately be natural forest fires, but they're exasperated by just the dryness and the heat. I mean, I remember last year when it was all over the news, the forest fires massively being ramped up in Brazil, like they're deliberately burning all the forests in Brazil. This is scary, man.
Oh yes, that's ground burning for more farmland. But to go back real quick, did you say that wasn't a good look for the LGBT movement?
Yeah.
Gender reveal parties are for children, or for babies.
Oh,
to reveal a child of a pregnant person's child.
Oh wow.
Well, you don't know what gender reveal parties are?
Oh my
I mean,
God.
I don't blame you. I think these are kind of new.
No, well, they're not new.
I've never heard of a gender reveal party. I'm sorry. Brainlet moment. Holy shit.
It's okay. That was just really funny. It's like the idea that people are like, "Oh, I'm trans now. Here's my coming out party." I wonder if people do that. Like, it's not something I've ever done or been to, but I'm sure people have like done it. Like, that'd be fun. I'm sure for them.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. All right, so August 19th, California Governor Gavin Newsom report that the state was battling 367 known fires, many sparked by intense thunderstorms. Okay, so many were caused by thunderstorms. I believe it. Response and evacuations were complicated by a historic heat wave and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The governor declared a state of emergency August 18th. In early September 2020, a combination of record-breaking heat waves in Diablo and Santa Ana winds sparked more fires, explosively grew active fires, with the August complex surpassing the I'm probably going to botch this, Mendocino complex to become California's largest record for wildfire. Yeah, so apparently these are like the largest California fires on record.
Yeah, I was reading something about it as far as like what's like causing this. On one hand, it's kind of like a three-way effect. On one hand, you have climate change, the area is like heating up around there, but also you have like, this is what Trump is like only pointing to, but like forest mismanagement. I guess there's a lot of like foliage and stuff that is like collected over years, like in these forests and stuff. Because they're supposed to like burn naturally, and that's like a natural part of like a forest, burning and coming back, but they try and like suppress that, so this foliage is like a whole bunch. But the third thing is like there's just way more housing in these areas, so it's like this threefold effect.
Settler
but
decadence.
Trump is like merely just pointing to the forest mismanagement. He's saying that's the only thing that's causing this, and there's no other issue, but there's obviously more to it we can see.
Yeah, it's a litany of factors. But yeah, it's funny you bring up the urbanization, because one of the things a lot of people don't think about is how much heat is drawn due to the concrete and pavement on the floor. Like the asphalt actually draws a great deal of heat to the cities. So what I kind of foresee is as climate change ramps up, as it will exponentially in the next couple decades, you are going to see an exponential increase in heat strokes as if you guys don't know, 35 degrees centigrade is the temperature in which the human body is no longer capable of expelling heat from it. So at 35 degrees centigrade and above, basically you're at risk for a stroke if you stay in that condition, that weather condition, for an extended period of time.
Yes.
And that's pretty scary. It makes me wonder how the wildlife will manage. Are we just going to see like die-offs of a shit ton of mammals that can't take the heat?
Oh yeah, it's actually, I saw where like because of these fires and like specifically like all these birds are like fleeing the area and they're like dying in like Arizona, New Mexico and stuff. So we're already seeing like migrations and stuff like that happen because of these fires.
Also,
human cost is also pretty heavy. Obviously, it says like $1 billion in damages were done over what, 2 days or something like that. For the worst parts of it, which is a lot. Yeah, over 1 billion USD. That is a lot of resources that could be going into something more useful than getting burnt up. There are significant environmental regulations that should be put in place. For example, last year's forest fires were started by a power company not maintaining their lines, and it sparking dry foliage when one like fell or something.
No, you have to understand, bro. Big line go up equal good. When more money is spent repairing natural disasters, that increases GDP, which stimulates the economy. It's, that's why it's good that we have all these health expenses and, paying for all these natural disasters in the military and so on. Big GDP equal good, America, fuck yeah.
Look, I think that we should bring back brutalist fireproofing.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's do that.
Maoist, third worldist movement. I'm right here.
Do you guys want to go through comments briefly?
Sure.
All right, cool. I'll stop sharing.
Oh shit, not much, man. I hope you're doing all right. What's good with you? Sorry for interrupting.
It's all good. Comrades grab a gun and model obs and kill the fucking cops. Only in a video game. Only in GTA. Do not do this in real life. I do not advocate for any sort of violence on the Fellow Traveler YouTube channel or the Chaos Under Heaven podcast. But anyway,
political violence,
real
even in
activism,
Minecraft,
organized.
is not allowable and should not be advocated for.
Yes. Anybody who advocates for violence on these platforms is most likely a glowy. And all I'm going to say is if I'm going to go out and commit acts of violence and terrorism, hypothetically, the last thing I'm going to do is telegraph that shit on my fucking channel. So let's hit shit on the hush hush. But anyways, I missed you too. I love doing these streams and I love having.
Yeah, we missed you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Always got the most to say, dude.
Autoboll, is good to have you on stream again. Oh yeah, I feel like reading old comments, but all right. You guys can read comments as you like. I'm gonna get back to this article.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I will say about where is it? It is time for all of our LGBT comrades to get armed. Yes, that is true. Big true.
Oh yeah, no, everybody start packing heat. I don't know if you're familiar with the genocide in Indonesia, where the CIA basically sponsored mass killings of a shit ton of Indonesian communists. It was a peaceful reformist communist movement sparked up in Indonesia, and the CIA, backing these fascist death squads, got 1 million people killed. So if you don't want to end up dumped in a mass grave, I suggest you start packing heat.
Yeah,
Wait,
man.
shit, when did this happen?
I was watching Paul Cockshot actually put out a video yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he was talking about America specifically, and he was like, yeah, everybody in America, I mean, you guys can pretty much form militias and buy guns if you want. I mean, that's pretty, that's something, because, I mean, most European countries, you can't just do that. So I was a little surprised to see Paul Cockshot be like, hey, maybe you guys need to arm yourself. But yeah, that was pretty cool, I thought.
Paul Cockshot is a crypto Maoist, dude. I was going through Towards the New Socialism, and many of his critiques of the post-Stalin USSR sounded vaguely like Maoist critiques, like a lot of his criticisms and a lot of what he had to say. And you'd be surprised, like, if you've read Cockshot's work, there's like, droplets of Maoist-type analysis. I don't know if you guys have been through or read Towards the New Socialism or not.
I've not. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, check it out. It's a very good book. I'm a big fan of Paul Cockshot, and but anywho, getting sidetracked. All right, so we know about the caused it. Let's see some of the damage. Interstate 5 acres. The 2 structures destroyed, 9 damage. So basically, buildings are getting burned down. People are getting burned alive. Oh, wow. Look, holy shit. Imagine you're in a suburb and you see this out in the distance. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
It's just another day in hell, man.
Oh, yeah, no, there's this really cool one. There's this really cool picture where it shows this neighborhood where it's just pure red. You know, it's just glowing red in this fucking neighborhood, like right here. Like, dude, look at that. Look at this. Holy shit.
You have to admit, it is an aesthetic.
It's beautiful, but it's terrifying at the same time. Fuck yeah.
Also, people in like
It is
Orange
something.
County, they can't see like the sky red, but like, you know, they're inhaling like the smoke and whatnot. So they can't even have windows open. So God forbid if you don't have AC. Comrade Dark
Yeah, and-
Shinobi was talking about it.
There's lots of air pollution. Yep.
Is Dark Sinovia from California?
Yeah, he lives in Orange County. Oh shit, I should.
Oh shit. I hope he stays not burning. Holy shit. Oh my god, dude. The good news is that when, you know, I've mentioned it on my previous podcast, but when the blue ocean event occurs and the entire planet gets fucking flooded, I'm willing to predict a couple decades down the line, California and a lot of the planet will be thriving again. But it's going to be after, you know, 7 billion people die from the climate apocalypse.
Well, one thing is that even in worst case scenarios, where there are going to be parts of the Earth that are still habitable, especially in the very far northern parts of the hemisphere where there's lots of land and not a whole lot of ice, even in the super cold parts, will still be habitable, especially if I remember correctly, Siberia has a lot of plains land under compacted ice.
Yeah, so Siberia and northern Canada will actually become global breadbaskets with global warming. So in oligarch-ruled crypto-fascist Russia, climate change is a good thing. That was a terrible Russian accent.
Yeah, soon enough, I'll be an illegal immigrant to Canada. It'll be great.
Yeah, me too.
It'll be an excellent experience.
Apparently, when Trump got elected, thousands of Americans actually tried to flee to the Canadian border.
Dude, I just want to own a log cabin in Saskatchewan and protect it with my guns.
Worst case scenario, I become like public enemy #1 and I gotta go underground. I'm going straight to Alaska. I'm getting some cosmetic surgery. I'm growing my beard out, growing all my hair back out. I'm moving straight to Alaska, and I'm gonna get me an Eskimo wife in a cabin working on an oil field. But anyways, I don't have much more to say on the wildfires. You guys want to just move on to Trump?
They have been terribly mismanaged. And California has been not receiving federal support in spite. So, screw the federal government.
I believe it.
Not only that, but it's like, I can't believe like people are still like telling, like the most craziest thing is like people are still telling you like, oh, the world's ending, whatever, just party, or like, oh, well, just vote. Like, come on, the sky's literally red. And you saw this stupid individual. It's like BS.
Yeah, it's peak liberal.
Did you guys see, did y'all see where Trump was saying that he was arguing with that scientist and he was like, well, the world is actually getting colder and you'll see and all that stuff.
You'll see.
It was just kind of shameful. Like I was like, oh, I wish the science like agreed with you. And Trump was like, oh, well, you know, I don't believe the science or something like that. So
yes,
that's kind of what
that
we're
was a
dealing
couple
with.
days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently it will actually get colder in certain regions. One of the reasons why they renamed it from global warming to climate change is actually because you could, I forget the climate science behind it. I'm not a meteorologist, but apparently it can actually cause extreme cooling in the winter. So the reason why they call it, climate change is because the planet isn't just getting hotter, but in certain regions, during the winter months, it'll also get colder as well, as extreme weather will be amplified. So,
like, for example, I'm from North Texas, and like we've been getting super short, super harsh winters for the past like decade. And when I was younger, they used to be long and mild.
Yeah, I've noticed that where I live, it doesn't rain as often as it used to, but when it does rain, it pours, and it will pour for days. And another thing is we don't get snow anymore. Like where I live in Ohio, when I was like 7, 8 years old, I remember we would get like 1.5 feet of snow, and then another 6 inches would drop on top of that a week later and freeze over. And it was literally, the ice was so thick. When I was a kid, I could step on the frozen snow and I could walk on it. Now we had like 1 day of snow last Christmas where I live.
Yeah, same thing here in Memphis. It used to snow like every year, but now it's like sparse, like every 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't snow nearly as often. It's fucking scary, man. And it's kind of terrifying. I'd like to go without a car. I'd like to drive my individual carbon footprint as low as I can, but you know, I have a job that's a half hour from my house, so what am I going to do? And it's night shift, so what am I going to do? Leave my house at like 10:30 and go biking for 2 hours, 3 hours, you know, to get to work on the fucking highway?
By the way, I see a lot of people talking about Canada not being great. The reason you go to Canada is not for the government, but for the fact that they're going to have the only arable land after global warming kills us all. That's why you go to Canada.
I think what we're going to have are like, we're going to get the borders recarved up and redrawn, and we're probably going to have something resembling feudalism make a comeback. But
I'm just ready for Frostpunk to become real.
Oh, actually, I have a better prediction. So basically, this goes back to the labor theory of value, but the value of a commodity isn't just, you know, socially necessary labor time that goes into its production. It's socially necessary labor time imbued with the natural resources of the world. Well, as we use those more and more, as you know, capitalism, all it knows is growth. All it knows is consumption. So as we use up all our resources, the more resources that we use, the less that there is, the more human labor power it is going to take to basically reproduce civilization. So people are going to be more and more involved in the production process than ever before, with fewer and fewer resources. We're basically going to be forced to be more efficient, and we're going to have to make up for lost resources and what we would otherwise be using with more human labor time. And seeing as that the survivors from the climate apocalypse are going to be absolutely essential to the survival of the species, what are the implications of this for labor?
The more labor is necessary as a percentage of the population, the more power is in the hands of the laborers themselves.
Exactly. So what I mean by this is, if we survive the climate apocalypse and the climate apocalypse doesn't kill capitalism, then post-climate apocalypse, I believe that will be when capital will pretty much be backed into a corner, and at that point it's legitimately socialism or extinction, because there's literally no other way we will be able to do economy, and the human species survives at that point. That's what I think. So it's either going to be during or after the climate apocalypse. So at least, you know, if humanity does go extinct, and let's say the raccoons or the beavers evolve and become sentient, at least I can die knowing that my system will prevail in the end, because they're going to fucking evolve and they're going to go on to become communists in the end. So I'm just, that's very vindicating me to know that the beavers will have communism millions of years from now.
They'll have learned from the mistakes of our corpses.
Yes. Last thing I'll say before we move on is, are you guys familiar with the concept of the Great Filter?
No.
I'm not.
Oh, the different evolutionary steps based on like energy consumption.
Yeah. So the Great Filter is basically this idea. It's a theory or a hypothesis why there isn't more intelligent life in the universe. And the theory is that intelligent life will get to a point in their technological developments they'll either destroy themselves or they'll become an advanced space species. But there's a great filter that has to be passed. I believe the Great Filter is capitalism. That's my theory. If we can survive capitalism, if we can get past that, then, I mean, the sky's the limit, but legit.
While I see your point, I think, in my opinion, it is our ability to utilize energy efficiently. Like, for example, I believe the next theorized stage, quote unquote, is from being able to harness solar energy, from our perspectives, near limitless source of energy. If we are able to utilize that efficiently, we can solve all of our energy woes and advance into as further type of civilization. Like if we just didn't have to consider how much energy we were expending getting spaceships into space, it wouldn't be as hard to do it. We'd be able to put more resources into doing it regularly. But I do see what you mean.
Yeah, but the thing is that would require an incentive to achieve such post-scarcity. Now, they have made breakthroughs in nuclear fusion. They have made some serious breakthroughs, but a lot of the math and the physics that was discovered initially, as well as like the astrophysics and so on, actually, you would be surprised, originates in a lot of the Soviet Union, like a lot of Soviet research. The Soviets prioritized the shit out of the hard sciences, and what I'm trying to say is if it does happen, it's going to come out of the state sector. And if it does come out of the state sector, it has to be commodified. But like, if the value of energy goes to zero with like the breakthroughs with nuclear fusion, I mean, I don't really see how capital is incentivized unless they just start charging rents for it, you know? Because
well, that's exactly what they'll do. The same way that like anything that is distributable through the internet has an effectively limitless resource. But it is still regulated in its use, regardless of the fact that it doesn't actually consume any resources to recreate. This is actually one of my favorite things, is talking about how the internet is an example of Marxist theory of a machine that can limitlessly reproduce work, reproduce labor, in the form of intellectual property, I guess, because that's what everything on the internet is. So that's a really interesting thing. That is not actually super relevant, but it's cool.
Oh yeah, no. The fact that we have to pay for video games is 100% bullshit. I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of reminds me of Steam, how they charge like $10, $20 for video games, even though there's literally fucking zero. The only matter that goes into the reproduction of video games on Steam and online is literally electrons, little electrons bouncing inside the silicon transistors in your computer.
Maintaining storage does cost money. Like maintaining storage does cost resources, but it's not as much as we put in. And there is.
Wouldn't they argue like? Oh well, the labor we put into it making the video game is like, you know, of course we know that they charge like way too much for these things, but I mean, wouldn't that be like the argument though? Like, there's still going to be like labor that you have to design these things that are going to go on the internet and such like that.
And I'm glad
right now it barely even goes into the workers because you still have like a bunch of complaints about like people getting underpaid or cut.
Yeah, so that's the problem. Is that the money? I would not have an issue with the prices, for example, if it was like a union-owned game company. That was just like
game devs have tried that in the past. Here's the thing: the gaming industry, video game industry, is probably one of the most exploited industries in the country. Video game developers get the fuck exploited out of them, and it's really only like the shareholders and investors that reap all these massive profits. It's also part of the reason why video games, like AAA titles more specifically, are starting to suck shit more and more often. They're basically remaking the same game over and over again to try and repackage and sell it to you. You know,
it's kind of the problem with art being put into a market system, because people do not create art for the purpose of self-preservation. They create art for other less material reasons, you could say. But if you put it into a system where the material payoff of an object is the most important thing, people that want to create art are going to be abused because they want to do it regardless of the barriers in the way.
Oh, yeah. The thing is that I personally wouldn't trust a doctor or an engineer that's only in it for the money, and I wouldn't really want to like I don't want artists that are produced because they're only in it for the money. I want people to give a shit about their work. And that's ultimately the direction we're going to have to head as a species. I'm not saying you don't remunerate people. Like I've said before, voucher economy, motherfucker. You charge jack shit in my communist America, when you get on Commie Steam, you can download all those games for free. And the video game devs will still get paid for it in labor vouchers. No circulation, moneyless economic calculation, baby.
That just sounds like currency with extra steps.
It's not. Yeah. So, guys, did you know Donald Trump knew about coronavirus?
Oh yeah, I've heard.
And guess who told him? Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping told. Well.
Oh yeah, did you see that in the call?
Jinping.
Did you listen to the call?
I'm looking for it. Hold on. There was this video. Actually, I got it in my notepad. I'll just dig it up from here. Trump knew about the coronavirus. So hold on. Before we play it though, just is there anything else you guys have to comment or what?
About what, video games?
Oh no, not video games, but Trump knowing about the coronavirus.
I mean, you have like a bunch of rampant xenophobia. So, I mean, of course, like, and then you have like publications saying, oh, well, this was created in a lab in Wuhan. You still have people believing it at this point. I mean, I even had a friend who, like, you know, he said like, oh, Trump made it worse, but it did come from China. And then like he just started bringing up like every single like, you know, every single like thing about like every single propaganda like piece about like China, like Hong Kong or the Uyghurs, like literally anything that has nothing to do with like, you know, COVID-19. But I mean, it just goes to show you how deep like yellow peril runs in like everyone, as well as like, you know, the news.
Oh, so we've moved past the ecological question, but I do want to address this real quick. No, not you. What do you think about forest burning in Siberia? Like, have you guys heard about that?
I have heard of it. I know that like they're experiencing like major fires. That's about as much as I know.
Yeah, because apparently there were forest fires in Siberia of all places. Isn't that supposed to be like brutally cold most of the year?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I guess in Siberia, because of like all this warming, they're able to like grow a lot more crops and stuff. So it's actually like helping them out in that way. It's kind of weird.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Is like that's actually going to refertilize the land more than it's going to harm it. Especially since it looks like it's largely in remote areas, but it has also covered what 47 million acres of forests apparently. Forest steppes and fields.
Shit. Well, once again, in fucking Russia, climate change is a good thing. How about that? But not to get sidetracked. Let's see. I'm in Korea now. COVID came from a lab in the U.S. Please talk about.
I don't think that's true.
I'm not going to condone that, guys. I know. Okay, one more. Fine. Reforestation. So, in order to keep desertification from happening, it is essential that trees are planted. Reforestation can be done, but I mean, you're going to need fertilizer. I mean, what about reforestation? I mean, what exactly do you want me to say? I'm sorry.
Reforestation is good. Do you stand reforestation?
Yeah,
Fellow traveler, are you being put on spot for your ecological viewpoints? Ecological
concerns are bourgeois. You know, the planet is here for us to pillage and abuse. Fuck Mother Nature.
I agree.
I've heard of like people actually saying that.
Yeah. I mean, I know that like the early socialist countries didn't really give a fuck, like when they were industrializing. I know Stalin did not give a shit about the environment. Like,
they didn't give a fuck because environmental studies just weren't a thing. Like they didn't even develop as a field until like the 60s at least.
And even then, you still had like a lot of nuclear waste from them.
Oh yeah,
like
Chernobyl. Yeah, I gotcha.
Like it wasn't even a field of study basically at all yet.
Hey, what's wrong with modern art?
There's nothing wrong with modern art.
It just
I
sucks.
always hear people like say like, "Oh, modern art is so like ass," or like it's so terrible. And like, I mean, it's just
Hold on.
I don't know what's the
Not
rub about it.
enjoying it does not make it bad.
Abstract. It's abstract art. And
Yeah.
really abstract modern art that blows dick. But there's plenty of good modern art. But I don't want to get sidetracked. We are gonna watch this video and discuss it if it fucking kills me.
Excellent.
All right.
On the eve of Rage's release for an
Hold on. I totally forgot to check off share audio. My bad. Here we go.
exclusive live interview. Bob, good morning. And let's pick it up right there. Because the biggest revelation by far from this book is that the president told you way back on February 7th that this coronavirus was airborne, that was 5 times more deadly than the flu. As you well know, you've been criticized for not releasing that information until now. The president has criticized you. Other commentators, one said on Twitter, nearly 200,000 Americans have died because neither Donald Trump nor Bob Woodward wanted to risk anything substantial to keep the country informed. So I'll give you a chance to answer. Why didn't you publish this information until now?
Because in February, I thought it was all about China, because the president had told me about a discussion with Chinese President Xi. And if you look at what was known in February, the virus was not on anyone's mind. No one was suggesting changing behavior. Then when it exploded in March, as you know, there were 30,000 new cases a day, publishing something at that point would not have been telling people anything they didn't know. They knew very clearly that it was dangerous.
Well, let me just pick up on that because, you know, understanding that hindsight is 20/20 vision, and it may have taken some time to put all the pieces together. One thing was abundantly clear. He tells you on February 7th, this is 5 times worse than the flu. It's deadly and it's airborne. And in the weeks following, he was saying things like, this is just a flu. It will just disappear. So you knew right then. And
So Donald Trump lied. In other words, water is wet.
And it's echoing.
Yeah, it's probably because my microphone is also picking up on the audio. Here, let me try turning my mic down and see if that helps.
You should be able to mute yourself in the application on the bottom left, which should only mute your mic.
All right, let's see if. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There was a contradiction between the public statement and what he had told you. Why not publish it right then and there and let the chips fall?
If there was any suggestion I had that that was about the United States, I would have, of course, published. I think I have a public health, public safety responsibility, but there was no indication in February. In March, everyone knew what Trump had told me that it applied to the United States. The key here, Savannah, is that in May, 3 months later, I learned the key piece of evidence that on January 28th, 10 days before that February call, the president was warned by his national security advisor in a top secret meeting that the virus is going to be and then his deputy, Matt Pottinger, stepped up with details explaining that a pandemic was coming. So that's why I begin the book with that January 28th meeting, because that's what the president is telling me about on February 7th. Well, I think he's talking about China.
Well, okay, let's talk about some of those early meetings, because the book takes readers inside. You mentioned the January 28th warning about the national security threat. 3 days later, January 31st, the China travel ban goes into effect. Now, the president over these last few months has said over and over again that it was his idea to ban travel from China and that no one agreed with him. He says almost everybody was just absolutely against it. My experts, I didn't listen to my experts. I banned China. Your book contains the first meeting that happened with Fauci, Dr. Redfield of the CDC, Alexander Azar of HHS, coming to the president and saying, you should ban travel from China. And he says, okay. So it's different than what apparently the president has been telling of this story.
So that's interesting. Apparently, you guys there?
Yes.
Okay.
Over here.
So apparently, you know, he I don't know why I'm having such a hard time comprehending this. Any comments so far?
Yeah, I have two big takeaways from this. Like you said, I think we're probably not surprised that Trump lied, but this is just like perfect evidence of it. It kind of shows that he has like a public character and then like a private character. And I thought it was very interesting if you listen to the actual call. He sounds very like, I don't know, a little more sophisticated when he like talks about the virus, because I'm just used to him like going on TV and downplaying it all the time, but he takes it very seriously. He explains how deadly it is. So that was just kind of shocking for me to hear. But the second big takeaway, though, where he says that Xi Jinping talked to him on the phone and told him about the virus, like, I don't know, some specifics about it. And of course, like the whole narrative has been like China lied and people died. So like that kind of throws that right in the face, because it shows that there was communication between them and they were sharing like legitimate information during those early days. So that was something.
Yeah. Do you have a link to that conversation? Like, do you have an audio recording of it? Because
I just posted it in our chat.
Oh, right. I'm gonna go post it. Let me see.
Yeah, he also talks about like institutionalized racism. That bit was kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
Really? Trump?
Go on.
Yeah, Bob Woodward like asks him about it and like presses him, and you'll see it at the end.
Shit.
All right, so I'm gonna mute myself again. If you guys want me to stop the video at any time, just let me know. But I will mute myself so that we can listen to this. One moment.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
All right, share audio.
Hello, Bob. President Trump, how are you? How are you doing? Okay?
Real well. I'm turning on my tape recorder.
That's okay.
Permission.
That's okay.
I'm sorry we missed the opportunity to talk for the book.
Well, I just spoke with Kellyanne, and she asked me if I got a call. I never got a call. I never got a message. Who did you ask about speaking to me?
Well, about 6 people.
They don't tell me.
Senator. I talked to Kellyanne about it 2.5 months
Oh,
ago.
hey, I totally sent you the wrong video. I'm sorry. That one's from like 2018. Let me see. Trump call.
And I wasn't muted either. Yeah, so Wicker's got to depart here pretty soon. But I do appreciate you stopping by. I know you don't got to go just yet, but I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah. If we do not get the chance to get to one of our future topics, I'll go ahead and tell you the interesting tidbit now. When I was looking up some information on Caitlyn Bennett earlier, her Wikipedia page described her as a civil rights activist.
Really? What civil
Yes.
rights? What civil rights is she?
I have no idea. But the fact in that Wikipedia was like, yeah, civil rights activist under Caitlyn Bennett's fucking page is just amazing to me. That anybody would describe her as that. You can describe her as a lot of things. A civil rights activist is not one of them.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It is something.
Yeah, like honestly, I thought you had something even dirtier than that. Like I know, I've got the general scoop on Caitlyn Bennett, like how she's a fucking she's an unironic monarchist. Like she legit wants the return of the monarchy. So she says she's libertarian, but what she means by that is the libertarian of the Hoppian school of thought.
She's an anarcho-monarchist.
She's a Hoppian. Do you guys?
What was that?
Wait, is anyone else lagging or?
The man died.
Oh, shit.
I think we lost fellow traveler.
Damn.
Well, guys, now we're the stream. This is what happened when Lenin died. So which one of you is Trotsky?
Ew. I don't want to be Trotsky.
Because I know it's one of you two.
I want to be Bakunin.
All right.
Shit.
But yeah, I just shared that that actual video to him, so hopefully he sees that here in a bit. I'm surprised that video has not been shared around a lot more, because it's, you know, those leaked phone calls between him and Bob Woodward, but it doesn't have a ton of views on YouTube or anything. Did either of y'all get to see those phone calls?
No. I have not been keeping track of it a whole lot, other than the entire, oh, hey, President Trump committed crimes again.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little bit there at the end where he talks about institutionalized racism, it's interesting because Bob Woodward keeps pressing Trump and saying, is there institutionalized racism in our country? And eventually Trump is like, well, I think it's in every country. And Bob Woodward's like, so it's here in America? And he's like, well, maybe a little bit here too. So
hey, sorry about that. My connection dropped. If
back.
that yeah. So if that happens again, I'm just gonna activate the hotspot on my phone and we'll just go from there. For some reason, like, my internet has been really shit lately. I don't know why I randomly dropped like that, but yeah. I don't have much to say on the topic of Trump knowing, to be honest, besides it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Trump lies constantly. And the thing that VFK said about the public and private opinion, I mean, Hillary Clinton said that too. You know, you have your public opinion and your private opinion. I mean, the Republicans and Democrats, they're all grifters. They're actually all buddy-buddy with one another. It's a huge spectacle. I'm just glad that at least everybody here understands that. I just don't. I mean, I know why he didn't do anything about it and why he just ignored it. But why do you think he just ignored it?
I think because he genuinely underestimated how bad it was. I think that he thinks himself a stronger person than he is, and believed that things would work out for him if he didn't do anything and just kept to his guns. I don't think he had a motivation beyond trying to look good for people. Because I don't think he, like, I know a lot of people are like, Trump is a fascist. I don't think Trump is ideologically anything. He does fascist things. I do not think he is ideologically a fascist. I think he's just a self-interested piece of shit. And the only way that I can see his actions being self-interested is in that, well, it definitely fired up divisions between his base and other people.
Oh yeah,
and that is exactly, and that's what got him elected last time. So
yeah, it's all about 5D. It's all about the 5D chess. You were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, I think he. Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say there. Oh yeah, like we said, yeah, obviously he's like lying and stuff like that. They have their public and private opinions, but oh, I totally lost it. We can move ahead.
No problem.
Well, since you mentioned Caitlyn Bennett, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I am going to have to be heading off. I would love to talk about Caitlyn Bennett more because I am not a fan. I hope to see y'all again soon. Next time I should be able to make more time to be here. It has been pleasant.
Oh no, it was great having you on, Wicker. I don't plan on shit. Now I want to do more live streams, but next time I will be streaming with Matthew. But if you'd like to stream after that, if you'd like to come back on, yeah,
absolutely.
All right, well, I'll see you off, Wicker. Thanks for joining us, comrade. You
have a great evening, everyone.
Yeah, see you, comrade. Oh, of course it came back to me like right now. No, if you listen to the call though, Trump, he talks about like how it's airborne and how that makes it so much more difficult. So you can tell that he recognizes some of the like intimate details of the coronavirus, and so he did see that it was a threat. I think his reasoning behind it though was he thought that although it's a threat, although it's going to cause a bunch of death, that because it's an election cycle, I can just kind of downplay it and, you know, hopefully just kind of like make it seem like I'm like, you know, like everything's kind of fine and like, you know, we're going to bounce back or whatever. I think it was purely like an election strategy.
Can I join? I have nothing interesting to say. Don't you mean you have something interesting to say? fine. What do you guys say? You want to have a bonus person? Why not? Let me go ahead and dig up the StreamYard link for you.
Do it.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Invite more people from my Discord. Find or start a conversation. Where the fuck are you, Yeast? All right, well, tell you what, Yeast, you have a link to my Discord. I'll just go ahead and post the link in the general. Here. Check the general, and I'll let you in if you like. But all right, so yeah, no, this is very, very Trumpian. This is a very Trump thing to do. This is nothing unique about Donald Trump. I mean, he's a liar, but I want to move on to a more entertaining topic because none of us are surprised by this. It's been like 15 minutes. So.
My mom just came in. Did I miss anything? My bad.
No, you're good. You're good, man. We were just talking about Donald Trump and Wicker left. But yeah. Anywho.
Oh shoot.
What?
Hey, well,
yeah.
if you're watching this at the end, I hope you have a good day, man. Thanks for being on the stream, dude.
So I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Caitlyn Bennett. So a little background on Caitlyn Bennett. She was. Do you guys know? Are you guys familiar with her? First off,
I'm familiar with her YouTube videos. I don't know much about her history.
Okay, hold on. Well, I'm gonna look up a picture of this bitch and good picture. But I'll give you guys the scoop on Caitlyn Bennett. Even though she's like a grown adult, apparently she's like as old as me, or a little bit younger actually. She's 24. I'm 26. So here's Caitlyn Bennett. Yeah, here's Caitlyn Bennett. Yeah, so here's what I got. She's a gun rights advocate and figurehead of the proprietarian YouTube channel Liberty Hangout. Her claim to fame was back in 2018 when she posed at the Kent State University graduation ceremony with an AR-10.
That was 2018?
Yeah, that was back in 2018. And yeah, so she's been active on YouTube for a while. She's got a channel called Liberty Hangout, and what she does is she's sort of like Ben Shapiro in the sense that she'll go to like these college campuses and interview young college students, and like the general environment is very left-leaning, liberalish, and you know, these kids are generally uninformed on certain topics or they don't know super well. Some occasionally they are, and occasionally she does get blown out by people, and it's entertaining as fuck to see her get blown out. But yeah, she'll try and like single out people, sort of like Ben Shapiro or Vladimir Joff, and like just basically try to make left-wingers look like idiots. That's sort of like her shtick. Do you guys know about like the Caitlyn Bennett poop incident? I want to get you guys caught up real quick before we cover those stories.
You said poop,
too familiar.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She was at a party. Somebody took a picture of her. She like passed out and pooped herself, right?
Yeah. Caitlyn Bennett reportedly pooped her pants at a party. Plenty of people. I mean, this is old news, but yeah, that's kind of funny. She shit her pants at a party. That's just. And this is actually one of the notable taunts that was given, basically thrown at her when she appeared at both Ohio and Florida universities. So that's really where we're going with this. Oh yeah, and just to throw that out there, she is a monarchist. She does believe in the abolition of democracy and a return to literal feudalism. So let's get back to Hoppianism. Like, you guys know who Hans Hermann Hoppe is?
I've heard the name. I'm really not familiar with his theory or whatever.
So he's this batshit insane anarcho-capitalist who argues in his book Democracy, the God That Failed, that monarchies are like objectively superior, and he talks about how like monarchies are just wealthier, they're better, and it's just so this dude basically believes the natural order is the wild, wild west, where, you know, when you hear ANCAP or libertarian, that's code word for I don't want a stateless society. I want the state privatized by the most competitive, cutthroat, ruthless warlords possible or imaginable. Basically, they want, I mean, a lot of them fantasize about the fucking power vacuum so that they have an opportunity to start their own little fiefdom cult shit and basically have their own plantation. But anyways, so yeah, she got chased off the couple universities, and I would like to review those videos, or not videos, but anywho, let's see. You posted it V.F.K, right? The
Yeah,
Kaitlin Bennett video. Yeah, this is the most recent one, right?
Yeah, it was like 5 days ago or something, I believe. That's when it was posted, at least.
Yeah.
Say that again. I hope you get corona and die for not wearing the right mask.
Wait, that's right. Echo. I better mute myself.
Oh, I think we're getting no audio.
Like an idiot. Sorry guys, I'm still an amateur streamer. I'm still learning and whatnot. Oh, Yeast is here. Yeast, what's up, man?
Hi. On the topic of Kaitlin Bennett, I have the picture where she shit herself. If you guys want to see it.
Oh, go for it. Post it in the Discord, and I'll pull it up on screen. Put it in shit posting.
I was sending it to you in private, but here it is.
Oh, that works. That works. Here. What?
Hey, Yeast, aren't you like a thing on Twitter? Or?
Yeah, I have a...
Dude, there's no way this is real. You have to be fucking with me.
No, it's her. It's her.
The picture's nasty as hell, bro.
Here it is, guys. Excuse me. What the fuck?
See, I heard she shit her pants. I didn't know her, like, it was like this. This is...
Oh yeah, no wait, what the hell? I didn't know it was this.
I think maybe someone shit on her or something. I don't know. Looks
is this real? Like, there's no way this is real. This has to be.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure
Oh
it
my
is.
god. Dude, did she eat 5 fucking quarter pounders and like 2 fries, biggie fries, and like that's like, I'm almost impressed. You have to be a professional eater. Like, oh my god, oh man, that's are you gonna fucking die and they just have to resuscitate her? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's an ungodly amount of shit.
Someone says they'll beat the shit out of you.
Oh wow.
No, let's watch her videos and you will not see her the same way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was just Googling it. That kept popping up. It looks pretty real to me.
Yeah, so I have to share the whole screen in order to share the audio. So I'll go ahead and mute myself now.
Again? Say that again.
Really, the old videos I've seen from her, she just owns herself. Like, she just...
But did you guys hear that?
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
Okay, perfect.
Like, there isn't a single video where she looks smart. Sorry.
Corona and die for not wearing the right mask. Corona and die for not wearing the right mask, cunt. Say that again. I hope you get corona and die for not wearing the right mask.
That's my name.
As a law enforcement officer, you're gonna sit here.
Look how unsafe this is.
I'm not controlling it.
If you guys leave, then I can control this. Okay?
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
If you can't control it with me here, you can't control.
Oh my god, even the cops are telling her to fuck off!
want me here.
Okay, we're gonna move you.
I think this is utter bullshit, in my opinion. Excuse my French, but what you're doing is you're promoting the president. There's nothing wrong with promoting the president.
They're saying fuck 12, fuck the police. They have the police here to try to get me off campus.
Only time when you're not fucking the police.
I got you. You got me. I'm gonna take you to a safe spot. Sean, secure that building. Go, secure that building. Secure that one.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to unmute myself through the keypad. Is there like a code I can do, like Control M or whatever? Let me see. Okay, that didn't do anything. But yeah, what I was gonna say is when that horde of people was chasing after her, didn't that kind of remind you of like the zombie apocalypse, kind of like something out of what, Evil Dead, or I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of like the zombie apocalypse.
I just find it funny.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of
how
intense.
annoying.
Like, you can tell people are running up on it. Oh, go on.
Like, I don't get, like, it's so funny.
Oh, I
to me,
was
like,
gonna say,
you
yeah,
know,
it's pretty intense.
it's so...
I mean,
Wait, am I cutting out?
No, you're good. I can hear you.
Oh shoot. No, what were you saying, F.V.K?
oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just agreeing. Like, it does look like a horde of zombies. Like, they're slowly like picking up speed on them and everything. Like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Like, how annoying do you have to be, or like people saying that, like, even people saying like fuck the police, and you still want Caitlyn Bennett like off the campus?
How bad do you have to be for the police to want you like not there?
Pretty fucking bad. And I don't blame him. She's an embarrassment, dude. Like, even if I were right wing, I would find Caitlyn Bennett a huge fucking embarrassment.
Oh, but look at her comments. Like, it's full of right-wing people saying she's an embarrassment.
Wait, I have no idea what's happening.
Do you want me to stream the video? Maybe I have a good connection, 1 gigabit per second.
Wait, can you stream it?
I mean, I think I can like share my screen.
Yeah, if you can screen share. Hold on. I think I'd have to give you powers. Or fuck, I don't know. But what I will say about that, you know, we'll figure this out some other time. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys, but yeah, let's. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and share the audio. I'm sorry if you guys have to deal with the doubling, but I'll figure it out later. But no, dude, this is fucking glorious. Like, look at this shit. Fleeing for their lives. It's fucking wonderful.
It's freedom of speech being exercised.
You should find one where she's like interviewing them one-on-one. The audio would be more easier to understand.
Yeah, we'll look for one after this.
Oh my god, sounds terrifying.
She's walking away.
Oh, there's this video. She gets owned by communists.
Oh, yeah, link it in the private chat. But yeah, so that was this restores my hope.
I have no idea what that was.
That legit restores my hope in humanity.
Imagine being so fucking stupid you start a whole civil war just by yourself.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I loved how it was like just like a whole group of like college girls just like flipping her off and like yelling at her at the end there. Like that was pretty good. At the very end of the video, she's all like, "Oh, this is evidence that Antifa is sending terrorists into schools to like be provocateur and all this stuff." So that's where she goes with it.
You know, going back to the very first video we watched this stream with that guy who shot the cops, it makes me think how righties are going to spin it. I mean, I know the news will never cover it, even though it's something definitely worth covering, but I just wonder how right-wingers would spin something like that, because this was not a politically motivated killing, you know. This guy wasn't, you know, a hardline Stalinist or a Antifa super soldier. He was just dude panicked and backed into a corner in fear for his life.
We have to remember, like, not all, like, what's it called, right-wingers or, like, you know, bootlickers or they don't like act like bootlickers or whatever. They only like they really only care about like authority or like, you know, freedom when they get their way. So they're gonna be like, oh, this guy was based or whatever because he was white. Yeah, I swear it's gonna happen because they do this with shit like Waco.
Yeah,
and
that's
whatever.
why I brought up. Sorry, you're still talking.
Like they love their vigilantes.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's why I brought up that case in. Oh, sorry, it keeps cutting in and out. It's kind of hard to tell.
No, I mean, I can hear you.
Earlier when I was mentioning, like in West Memphis, like I mentioned earlier, those that father and son, they were like libertarians, and they wouldn't comply with the police, and they ended up like killing a police officer. That's what was going on. People were saying, "Oh, these are just citizens defending their private property from the state." And that's the way it was spun, like by a lot of right wingers here. So I agree. I think like there's some on the right who will definitely like take that approach, but then you'll have like your classic bootlickers as well.
Yeah, I mean the right in general isn't a monolith, but I don't know. Anyways, commies on campus. You guys see this dude right here? See this dude? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Communist.
Well, let me speed this up a bit, just a hair.
Should we be celebrating that? Are you triggered? No, I'm asking you a question. I believe, you know, communism is actually. The idea of communism is like absolutely liberating. It's the idea of like embracing the collective spirit to like build a better world. Yes, resist. What are you resisting? I'm resisting you. Wow, very progressive and brave.
Oh wait, that? Man. Oh, I've seen that video like 20 times. Well, not really, but like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. These people kind of sound a bit like, not very good.
Hey, I mean, I'm giving credit where credit's due. I'm glad that they know who this bitch is and they're sticking it to her. If the more colleges start sticking it to righties, the better, because honestly, I just don't want these fucks poisoning the minds of young people, and it makes me very happy to see that people between ages 18 and 25 have grown a resistance to right-wing bullshit. That brings me a lot of hope, is what I'm trying to say.
Honestly, my favorite like video would probably be the one where like she's asking, oh, should transgender people or something, like should there be gender assigned bathrooms or whatever, or like no, it was good. Yeah, should tampons be in bathrooms, in like male bathrooms, and everyone was just like pretty cool. They're like, yeah, I mean, I don't see the problem with it. That was a really good video. It's pretty wholesome. I'm only using that word, but it was.
Hold on a second. How do I? Sorry, there we go. Anyways, where's that? Which one is it? Is it the college students have no morals? Or...
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I saw it on a Bosch video. This is when like I used to like Bosch.
All right.
So...
Well, let's go through this then.
Yes, you're live right now. Yeah, we're live right now. This show is Liberty Hangout Show.
Liberty Hangout Show.
Subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
Notification, subscribe.
Please tell Liberty Hangout #1 YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Liberty Hangout #1 YouTube channel. Subscribe to them.
Perfect. Okay, question for you. Hi guys, you wanna do a group interview? You look cute. You gotta show that outfit off, okay? All right, real quick. I won't hold you guys up. Me and James are both white people. Like we are in the oppressive class, and like we recognize. Am I in the oppressive?
Fuck off. That's cringe. I'm sorry, but like white supremacy and being white are not the same thing. Like you have white supremacy, which are the institutions of power that like benefit white people, but that doesn't make you the oppressor necessarily. Like what about the fucking what about the Soviets liberating the Nazis? Are they part of, or defeating the Nazis? Are they part of the oppressor class? Like
no.
Like what? I
think what she's trying to say is that like white, like everything is kind of dominated by like whiteness. A lot of like media is very Eurocentric. Yeah, like there's a very big like hegemony. It's not just like white supremacy, like cops killing black people. Like it's a lot more than just that. So that's what she means. Like whites are like the dominant class. And I'm not gonna lie, she's not really wrong.
I mean, she's not wrong. I just think she could have said it better. I think white hegemony is a better word than saying, "Oh, we are the oppressor."
Yeah, I mean, we're all like passionate and looking into communism all day, but like they're just they think it's cool. They know a bit about it. They're not like huge theory nerds. So I think in this video for like amateur communists, they're pretty good. Like they know a little bit of like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I think like you said, she's overall right, but like her wording is kind of flawed. Like saying the white oppressor class, like as Marxists, we would understand a class is like it results from like an economic situation. So just saying white oppressor class is kind of problematic.
But she's also improvising in front of a camera, so there's
we've all done it.
We gotta factor that in. I'll let it slip by. My bad. She's not wrong. Come on.
Just like we benefit from white privilege in a way that like it's not obvious, but it's in a more subtle way. I mean, look around. Do you see any indigenous people? Yeah, I talked to a lot today, actually. Really? What tribes are they from? I didn't ask because that's not important to me. But
that's a lie. There are very few Native Americans here. I'm willing to bet. So yeah, she's not wrong.
She probably talked to like those white people who say like they're like 2% like Native American or something like that.
Yeah, like you mean like she probably means like what, the likes of Elizabeth Warren, who's like 1/1000th Native American, Pocahontas. Isn't that an interesting double standard? One drop of black blood makes you black, but one drop of white blood turns a Native American into a white person.
I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of like I really hate how like white people see that as like a really good thing. Like if they have like a little bit of like indigenous or African and like in their blood, like that doesn't mean that like that relationship that your ancestors had was consensual. If you know
like the way I always saw it is like, I don't know, I hate using the term like white guilt, but I feel like it does come from like a little bit of like white guilt. Like they want to attach themselves to the land somehow, so they're like, oh well, I have an ancestor who's native, so it's kind of easy to say like that.
Yeah, a lot of people on the left, I'm not gonna lie, kind of do that.
Well, I know I'm pretty sure she's lying when she says she talked to lots of Indians today. So anyways,
this was built, most of it was built by slave labor.
Why are you here?
Many buildings have the names of slave holding families.
Why do you go in them?
Well, because Rutgers has a
because you participate in a society. You're not allowed to criticize that society.
I think his response is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Of this with really radical politics. Here, the famous black communist.
Communist. Should we be celebrating that?
Are you triggered?
No, I'm asking a question.
believe, communism is a great thing, actually. I mean, obviously, it's been implemented in ways that haven't been effective. And so,
can you show me where it's been effective?
I believe naturally humans hold a collective spirit. We are not atomized individuals. Neoliberalism has torn through humanity.
So individualism is out of the picture.
I believe we all have individual rights and the right to self-determination, as Palestinian people do as well.
Oh.
Yes. And I also believe that naturally we are innately collective. And I believe that we all exist in a mosaic of humanity.
I like this guy. I would go have coffee and play video games with him sometime. He sounds really cool.
And I think the fact that the capitalist system and neoliberalism has completely destroyed that produces ideologies like the far right that believe that in some ways eco-fascism is a direct result of that.
Oh my God, you were throwing out all these really crazy, weird terms. Eco-fascism? No, they are. Like, on.
What's wrong, Caitlin? Are these words too big for you?
Yeah, she gets like flustered here.
If you talk to a normal person, eco-fascism, that's really stupid.
Tudor self-identified as an eco-fascist. He wrote a manifesto about the climate crisis. He said he accepted the science and then scapegoated Black and brown people as a scapegoat for the climate crisis.
Oh, and just a really quick deep spook. So that's like going to be the excuse for eco-fascism in the future, that there's too many black, brown, and yellow people. When did you guys know that on like a average square acreage basis, there's actually fewer black, brown, and yellow people in their respective homelands than white people in America? And like, I'm just going by like who uses like the most land and like who uses the most resources. It's really like Western Europe and like the United States that are more densely populated.
I think the US, if everyone consumed like an American, we would need like 7 times the resources and land. But if everyone lived like an Ethiopian, we would need like not even one Earth for everyone. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Africa has like the smallest carbon footprint in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not really trying to shill here, but if everybody just ate less meat collectively, and we got rid of the ruling class, like we could cut our carbon footprint by like 80 to 90% if like everybody went vegan. You got rid of the capitalist class and you liquidated all the world's militaries, because those are really like the 3 biggest contributors to climate change: rich people, military, meat production.
That's actually how I became communist. Like, I was thinking about the climate and I realized, wait, we live in a system that needs endless growth, and companies competing with each other. Like, if one tries to be environmentally friendly, they would get outcompeted. So really, it would be like the state is supposed to give welfare and act in the interest of everyone. So if every company was like managed and planned, that would be much better. And then I realized that people thought about it long before me, and yeah. So yeah, climate is going to be the most important, the number 1 focus of like when we have a big socialist movement. I think, like, for example, finding alternative materials and to replace all the plastic packages with something better than plastic, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like I mean, most plastic is just used for single use. A lot of it isn't even like used for recycling built in mines. So you can only recycle plastic like 6 to 7 times before it has to ultimately be discarded. I'm more in favor of the biodegradable route. You just pre-create everything just to biodegrade over time.
I agree.
But anywho, getting sidetracked, ADD's kicking in. Do you have anything else to say?
I said, in a planned economy, we could, like, how we have resource quotas and we have to put them in the right place. We could do the same with CO2 emissions, like have a CO2 emission quota and just do the best we can with what we have.
Ironically, if we don't get rid of the suburbs and get rid of the cars. There's a really good video series on like urbanization and urban sprawl on YouTube.
Reconsolidate all the living quarters into communes, You could reclaim a metric fuck ton of land if you did that. Have all of the things that people need localized. You have advanced 3D printers, so you know you don't even have to deliver most shit. You can just deliver the raw materials and have shit constructed on the spot with advanced 3D printing technology. Now that's the kind of future I'm down for. You know,
the future we'll see though.
Probably not. But we're getting sidetracked. I want to get through this video before closing.
I'll be right back.
This is real threats that we're dealing with, and I think that they're not real problems, really minimized.
I never said that. I said it's silly. What is ecofascism? What is that?
It's this idea that it's a branch of far-right politics. Usually far-right people don't accept the fact that climate change is a real pressing problem.
What do you think about this? You're just a bystander. What do you identify with? Are you a right-wing, left-wing? Don't really care?
Don't really care. Okay. I'm in the middle.
Okay. What about ecofascism? Are you contributing to that?
I wasn't really listening to anything that was just said.
I don't blame you. If you want to walk away, you're totally free to. You look like you have more.
Is your name Kaitlin Bennett?
It is, yeah.
Seen you. I don't know. Okay.
All right, have a good day.
He walks away.
I mean, I wouldn't be, if you're that conscious about slavery and Native Americans, I wouldn't be on this campus if you told me all that crazy history. But, I mean, it is really weird that you're okay with communists being here. Yes, I need the education.
I said we are here getting an education so we can better the systems that we do believe are structurally oppressing people. It's not fair to just say we recognize that the history is problematic, but there's also a positive history that James very diligently pointed out.
Communists came out of the school. That's
radical. Just people who
that's positive.
I mean, radical is an inherently positive.
Communist. That's okay.
Yes. The idea of communism is absolutely liberating. It's the idea of embracing a collective spirit to build a better world. I mean. What do you have?
Acting outraged is not an argument.
A defensive instead of just acting shocked. Can you give me something to work with?
Yeah. So I think communism is inherently wrong because it strips away the individual. There's no more individual, so people can't be looked at as you're an individual. You're an individual. You're all different. You all have the right to do and be what you want to do and believe in.
Wrong.
Communism takes away that ability to be who you are. It puts you in a collective to where thought is no longer about the individual. It's a collective thinking. Yes, it is. And then inherently communism is wrong because it's based off of that. Communism is not okay because you don't have the right to your property under communism. Inherently, every person has a right to their property. You don't have the right to your property?
No. Well, right now we're not living in a communist system, but I'm willing to give up. Personal property is a capitalistic notion that has been embedded in us, so we think that it's the right thing to do.
Because why isn't it right to have your property and have a right to your property?
Because private ownership is directly related to the exploitation of people who are creating this.
So consent to trade with an individual is exploiting.
Yeah. So there's an equivocation. So there's an equivocation that right-wingers often do, either out of ignorance or out of dishonesty, where they will equate personal property with private property. I mean, obviously, personal property is stuff you own personally, like your refrigerator, toothbrush, and even a small plot of land, a personal plot of land used to grow food. Private property are the things used to produce civilization. I mean, but we know this. But I wonder what they're going to say about our first point, where it's about, undermining the individual and forcing them to be a part of a collective, because the whole point of what's up?
Actually, no, wait, keep on going. I wanna add a point, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. But what I was gonna say is the whole point of communism, as Marx and Engels envisioned it, and even Lenin and so on, all the communists, is actually to liberate the individual and the collective at the same time. It's about maximizing the utility of the individual so that people don't have to spend their lives working drudgery, producing things, and people can go live lives doing what they want to do rather than what they have to do. It's about human beings no longer being a product of their environments, but a master of their environments. So actually, she's completely in the wrong, and I mean, you really shouldn't be fucking surprised. What were you gonna say?
I mean, I just want to add on to that point, because it's I hate it when people say oh, communism destroys the individual, capitalism doesn't do that. But it's okay to go to work 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, get paid like shit. Most of your money goes to your boss or whatever. Not your boss, but the higher ups.
Bills.
Not only that, but it's you're always pressured to do something. Oh, you have to go to school for this. Oh, you have to, you always have to push for something. You always have to meet sort of societal norms. which, you know, might not be like too good for you as an individual. You know, that might harm you, but you can't be compensated for that because, you know, it's capitalism. So like at the same time, like basically it's just, you know, extracting as much, you know, from the individual, not, well, for a sort of collective, not like, you know, the collective is like any of us would call it, but like, you know, the collective of the ruling class. But I mean, she'll never like ever say that or ever even think that. Also, one more point, like, you know, she's like so full of shit and stupid. When like she goes to a college and she's like, oh, I never heard of ecofascism. Oh, this sounds so dumb. You sound crazy. It's like, you're at a college. What do you expect? Like, this is how you know, like, people just lose at their arguments when they just call you like weird or a nerd for like knowing like something.
Yeah.
Yeast, you were gonna say.
It kind of goes back to like their understanding of like freedom, because obviously she like that's what she's all about and everything. But I think for communists, generally, we recognize that like the realm of freedom begins where like the realm of necessity ends. And so that's just one thing that like she doesn't really factor into the equation. She thinks like, oh, well, you can be free even if you're poor, just because the government isn't like bearing down on you, saying you have to follow these certain laws or whatever. Where we would say like, well, I mean, if you're going to be really free, you're going to have your, you know, you're going to have to be able to live every day. You're going to have to know that you can eat and all that stuff. So it's just, I think that's what it comes down to, a different understanding of what freedom actually means.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
ask any poor person.
It's like, nebulous. Really, the right-wing interpretation of freedom, like liberal enlightenment notions of freedom, is very nebulous when you think about it. They're talking about the freedom to basically, like, you know, make money and go on. And, you know, the original, like, liberal enlightenment notions of freedom make sense, but, like, it doesn't really factor in, okay, freedom to do this. How about freedom from this, this, and that? You know, freedom from being exploited, freedom from being, you know, eaten by a bear out in the woods, freedom from dying from a cholera outbreak, a preventable cholera outbreak. What about, you know, if we're really going to talk about maximizing the individual, since when does fucking capitalism do that, you know? I am one medical emergency away from being like thousands of dollars in debt right now by virtue of not having health insurance. I'm one disaster away from my life being completely fucked. And, you know, state oversight would actually come in handy. I'd say I'd be more free having the government pay for my cancer treatment if I have cancer than without that, you know? Oh, but you get to choose your health insurance, you know? Oh, I get to choose. This mob rips me off. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I think another problem is like, you know, one person's freedom can sometimes imply like the opposite for somebody else, where with like people like Caitlyn Bennett, they'll be like, oh, well, these companies, like insurance companies, need the freedom to like, you know, do whatever they do and rip you off. But
no, they won't even talk about the freedom of health insurance. They'll just talk about your freedom to choose between different health insurance because the state is like not good enough to manage an hospital. That's the idea that they have of freedom.
Yeah,
so
basically.
Even with that, like, it's because it's underfunded. You know, like single payer healthcare can never work.
No, yeah, it's the oldest trick in the book. Right wingers are like, oh, the healthcare system or government program X is inefficient. Let's defund it. They defund it. It becomes even more inefficient. Then next time election cycle, they're like, look how inefficient it is. We better defund it and rinse and repeat. And this is how they impose massive austerity on the working class.
Yeah, I thought of a. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you know, I thought of an argument the other day. You know how like right wingers are always like, oh well, guns. You know, a gun's not bad. It won't shoot anybody unless it's in the hands of like a bad person. You know, they always say that. But like the government's kind of the same thing. Like the government in the hands of like business, you know, elite people will obviously, you know, put you at the receiving end of that gun. But if it's like controlled by like the workers, that's a totally different scenario. So they act like the government is just bad no matter what. But they can recognize that a gun is like bad depending who holds it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I saw it that way.
Cognitive dissonance. Anywho, let's finish this up.
Oh, okay.
To trade.
Oh, if you wanted to say something, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say that there is another thing right-wingers misunderstand about communism, is that they think, there's this focus on exchange instead of production, and seeing labor as a commodity like every other commodity. So when they hear about a planned economy, what they think is that the states will be here to control every single trade you try to do, and like trading will be illegal, and you'll the state will control all trade and not production. That's how they see a planned economy, controlling trade and not production. So when they hear that, when they think government controlling trade, they just think like they give you a job and you can choose, and they give you the same supplies to everyone. They give the same supplies to everyone. So like you'll get a shitty car because some people who don't need cars will get one, and that kind of things. Like you get food that you don't want. That's how they see a planned economy.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the nebulous way in which they see capitalism. They think like, I kid you not, there are libertarians out there that have this perception of humanity that humans are just these isolated little individuals. We weren't collective animals that lived out in packs, out in the woods, like back during the Stone Age. So capitalism's been around as long as humanity has. It's totally natural, because their conception of what capitalism is when like you got, Dick over here, or no, better yet, Grug. You've got Grug over here, and he's got some rocks. And then you've got Kruk on the other side, who's got some sticks. And then Grug trades his sticks or he trades his rocks for Kruk's sticks. And, in that trade, you have capitalism, because, Grug earned those rocks, those shiny rocks, by looking for them. And then Kruk earned those sticks by, picking them up, or like the acorn or whatever. It's barter. Capitalism is a very specific phenomenon that occurred 300 years ago, but I want to get through this.
What I'm saying, when did trade become important? We talk about capitalism is wrong because it exploits people.
Speak of the fucking devil! I just brought this point up.
So consensual trade, I'm talking to her. Consensual trade is exploitation. Consensual trade is not happening in capitalism. It's not a barter system.
Everyone's on the same playing field. Capitalism does not produce even outcomes for people.
That's the point. It shouldn't. It's trading. It's competition. Some people inherently are better. Get a job.
What
if we live in a?
We don't.
You
have your revenue, Jim Crow. We don't live in a society. I see different colors of people all around me every day.
Give me evidence. But how do we not live in a society? So why are 13% of black people disenfranchised right now?
Because 13
deserve that?
I did not say that. No, I don't think anybody inherently deserves something based on the color of their skin.
Why 13?
Well, obviously you do, because this is a merit-based system, right? Black people disproportionately get like cancer and heart disease, and are disproportionately being affected by COVID, being cracked down, and so on. I'm just saying this is how the logic for white supremacy and fascism emerges. Because, well, on one hand, you have the propensity to blame the other, the Lepantian other, for the contradictions of capitalism. And on the other hand, you also have really like the logic and rationale. You see Group X that's like failing and doing miserably in statistical regard. So what do? If the logic is blaming the victim for their own failings and shortcomings, and you have a group of people that have a bunch of failures and shortcomings, then logically that group sucks. And do you guys see how like the logic for like literal fascism emerges out of these conclusions, or am I crazy?
Yeah. Like fascism is the conclusion to individualism, like always.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
She literally just said like some people are inherently better than others. What people?
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my god. These kids are giving good responses. I just want to throw that out there. They actually have been owning her this whole time.
in this country.
Yeah, for being put
13%
on
of
the
the
spot.
population, Black people.
Millions of people are disenfranchised because of the systems.
Tell me the
this
system.
country is based on.
Tell me the system.
Mass incarceration, the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex are all perpetuating the notion that Black and brown bodies are less than white bodies.
So that's in the law.
That is prescribed in the law, yes.
Can you show me where? What's the law?
The 13th Amendment said it abolishes slavery except for the
It's not the law, it's the system. I mean, yes, there are laws in place, but when they're referring to the law, they're referring to something more grandiose than that. But anyways,
of people in jail, right? So it's like you have this issue of mass incarceration because Black people are, for the same crime, the same amount of crimes are committed, they're incarcerated more times because they don't have resources to get a lawyer. They don't have resources to get any legal defense, so they're put in jail, right? Then they're stripped of the right.
So they're put in jail because they don't have a legal defense? Yeah. You have the right to an attorney.
You have the right to a paralegal. It's different. A private attorney has way more political power, way more social capital than a paralegal does.
Really disappointing. You guys think so lowly of Black people in this country that you think that they inherently do not have these resources. Why do you think Black people are so...
wait, this is pure projection. I want to hear that again. I'm gonna slow that down a bit. That take was too stupid for my brain.
You have the right to a paralegal. It's different. A private attorney has way more political power, way more social capital than a paralegal does.
Really disappointing. You guys think so lowly of Black people in this country that you think that they inherently do not have these resources. Why do you think Black people are...
That's because they don't, you fucking idiot. Oh my god, that's some hardcore projection right there.
No, but remember, it's a meritocracy. If you acknowledge that Black people have less, that means they deserve less, and that makes you racist.
Yeah, that logic is just like crazy. Like, oh, well, you're saying Black people face problems in their society. Are you saying that there's something wrong with them? That's basically the thinking here.
Yeah, like libertarians will always use this argument. Like they'll always be like, oh, so like I remember I was talking to a teacher about this. She said some bullshit like that's racism by like thinking they need to be dependent or something. And then I told her like, no, like I'm saying this is how the system is. Like if they had what whites had, they'd be doing fine. They wouldn't they'd actually have self-determination.
I know an NCAP who, like, I was talking about unemployment with him, and he argued that there is unemployment because the government gives money to people because they have children, so people reproduce more and make more children, and that's why we have unemployment. And subconsciously, it's definitely racist. Like when he's saying that, like he's probably referring to.
Yeah,
no, that's very fucking racist.
I was gonna say that I've heard that argument. It's called there's actually a book titled this called The Cruelty of Charity, and it was pretty much arguing you shouldn't give to poor people because you're just creating more poor people or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty shameful.
That is Malthusian thinking right there.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Thomas Malthus or not, but that was basically his thesis that the Earth has a limited carrying capacity. There's only so much to go around. So, there's really no point in doing charity to try to help the poor. It's just an exercise in futility. So, you may as well let them die off. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's kind of the rationale of it. But yeah, no. Libertarianism is so incohesive. It's so goddamn incohesive and doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever when you actually start to question it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes I think people on the far right, or just even the nominal right, are mentally ill, because I've literally presented facts to some people before. Like, this guy talks about the global cabal of socialist banking elites, and I'm like, you mean that same cabal that sabotaged the Soviet Union? And he's like, well, that's not their kind of socialism. I'm like, whatever, dude. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw this at you. Do you think that that's like a strength of like libertarianism and kind of right-wing ideology? I mean, because it's so incohesive, it's almost like infallible at times because you can just like throw out all these different arguments and stuff.
Yeah, the NCAP I was talking about also argued that abusive relationships were actually mutually beneficial. Otherwise, one of them would leave. So yeah, that's his idea of free trade and freedom of association and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, did we lose fellow traveler?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I like that about ANCAPs is that at least they are honest with, like they push the individualist reasoning to the extreme, and you can see all the flaws with that reasoning. Like,
Yeah,
for
you can
example,
see where it all leads.
no one in their right mind would say that abusive relationships are mutually beneficial, but they do because that's where their ideology leads.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about
But
that.
one more thing I'll say about Caitlyn Bennett is I know in her recent videos she's been going around like interviewing people, like store owners whose property was like damaged by the George Floyd protests. And she's been going around interviewing them and kind of egging them on. She'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your business, and what do you want to be done here? Do you want maybe federal troops to be sent in?" And she'll kind of like lead them down that line of saying, "Ask the president to send for federal assistance." And of course, like the shop owners are like, yeah, that would probably help, federal troops." And so yeah, I hated seeing that, but she just plays kind of like she's like upset and like so offended, and it's just like she's clutching her pearls over like how offended she is. But then she'll be like, "Well, what do you think the solution is? Military force?" And that's kind of how she rolls.
Libertarian.
Yeah.
Only when it's convenient.
Well, at least she's not an ANCAP.
I did think thought they were the same.
Oh, did you see like the Nazi shit she has posted on Twitter? Like actual like Nazi slogans and pictures and like glorifying slavery and things like that. Like she's not even hiding it at this point. She's full blown Nazi.
Yeah, what did she post exactly?
Seen that shit.
I don't remember exactly. Wait, let me get it. Oh, she has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I can't follow that damn side of Twitter. I only know like the.
So, for example, she made a poll asking, "Do you believe the Holocaust happened as we've been told?" And
oh my god!
Then someone asked her, "What do you think?" And she said, "It doesn't seem possible that 6 million were killed."
Wait, she said that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She also like talked about white genocide, shit like that. Wait, but the worst one, it was a picture she posted that she deleted after, but it was really, really bad. Like, not even crypto-fash.
Like, what was it?
I don't remember.
I didn't know that she's like stooped to that level. That's pretty insane. I guess like when Trump starts sharing like little innuendos here, like like he shared that video of the person saying white pride and all that stuff. I guess whenever Trump starts doing it, some of his base will be like, "Oh, well, I guess I can start showing some of these sides of myself too."
Also, have you seen like where the I think it was it was some like U.S. government like apparatus. They just flat out posted like the Elders of Zion like book.
I did not hear that. That happened recently.
It happened like a couple of weeks ago or like a month back, and like I just saw it. I was like, they were just posting like there was just a bunch of Nazis in like the comments just yelling like based or whatever.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know.
She said women shouldn't be allowed to have bank accounts.
Oh.
And someone said even Kaitlin Bennett, and she said yes, especially her.
Wow.
And she also tweeted, the only place women should be marching is home to start a family and take care of the house.
Man, me and my girlfriend were watching that video earlier of her getting like chased out of the campus. And, it came onto that scene where it was like all those all those college girls like flipping her off and stuff. And I was like, I'm not surprised that so many women are angry at her because, so much of her stuff is like anti-feminist and she's like a woman too. There's just something especially cringy about that. So I see why the anger is so real.
Opening the borders will always result in full-on communism. Libertarians who support open borders are complicit in genocide.
Wow.
Also, I want to add to that thing that you said about the Holocaust, where like she just came out and said like, oh, I don't think it happened the way they say it did. Because like I saw this tweet and it was like people usually like are surprised that like a lot of American males between the ages 18 and 39 like don't know that 6 million like Jews died in the Holocaust. And then like people that aren't American or whatever, they'll say, oh, that's just a result of the US education system, which is true. But then like they think it's like out of ignorance or something, or it's out of like, like it's out of mismanagement or something. And the point of the tweet was like, this is something that is very deliberate. They do want this to happen. There's not as much like Holocaust debunking as you do, or like, propagation of like, the Holocaust and saying how it happened. And I'm not Holocaust debunking, I'm sorry, but like, Holocaust denial debunking. But you do have like a lot of pushback against like things like the Holodomor. You have, white genocide like being propagated. You also have, things like the Xinjiang genocide, which I'm gonna say right now is not happening, and all of these things. But like you never see any like you don't see like the Holocaust really being talked about that mainstream as much as like Holodomor, like all the pushback against that if like you deny it or you try to question it or something like that. So like this is very, very deliberate.
Yeah, and a lot of times sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say like genocide denial is not an argument, guys. Like if you want to like make someone look bad for quote unquote denying a genocide, you actually have to prove that it happened.
Oh yeah,
Nazi genocide denial is very, very different from Holodomor or Xinjiang like denial. I'm sorry for disrupting you.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, and a lot of times the Holocaust is used as kind of like the leverage point. Like, oh yeah, like the Holocaust was bad, but did you know that Stalin did this? Or like, oh yeah, the Holocaust is bad, but did you know that China's holding Uyghurs in concentration camps today? So a lot of times it's almost used to just say this other thing done by generally left-wing countries is like equal to the Holocaust. So you see that a lot as well.
Yeah, no joke. Because I'm pretty sure everyone here has seen like the picture of like the prison in China with like all the prisoners in the blue uniforms next to like a picture of the Holocaust, and then people are like, oh, why is no one talking about it? Even though that's been debunked, like that picture in China is not in Xinjiang. It is not related at all to Xinjiang, and that's of a what's it called, a drug rehabilitation facility. But then people are still going to say it nonetheless. Like a lot of people don't really like know much about the Holocaust or like Nazi race like politics and whatnot, so then they'll just use like the Holocaust for like every single like tragedy until it doesn't really mean anything anymore. So then like a lot of other genocides, like they get more leverage and they have like the same like worth as like the Holocaust. Like, oh, the Holodomor was just as bad. even though like there's not as much as evidence for that to the
I-
Holocaust.
I plan on
And then-
doing a live. I plan on doing a video about the Holodomor. Sorry to cut you off.
It's all right.
I'm going to do a really well-researched video about it, and I really want to put the deliberate terror famine myth to bed, like, just forever. I also really want to, like, challenge, like, the current narrative that, oh, well, it wasn't a deliberate famine, but, you know, they still didn't give a shit. I mean, not to derail the current conversation, but in all seriousness, like, people will bring up, oh, well, they protected Soviet interests over feeding the starving Ukrainians. But, like, the thing is like, the Soviets had deals going on with Western banks, and if they didn't uphold their end of the bargain and, like, pay for that factory equipment, it would have damaged their trade relations in the long term. And what I'm trying to say is it would have been worse for them to, like, give up the rapid industrialization in the short term, you know, to an attempt to alleviate the famine. And mind you, they actually did. They imported grain from India and sent what 80 million tons to
As well as Mongolia, right?
Yeah.
Like there was an army in the Far East that they imported their grain rations to Ukraine. So it's not like they just did something in like the last minute. That and like it's not easy to predict a genocide. It's not easy to predict a famine.
Yeah,
or a drought.
No, they definitely made mistakes. Economic gambling was one of them. Like, they were really counting on that harvest being a good one, but there ended up being, like, a lot of rust that spread to a bunch of different crops, as well as just, like, general drought. It's funny that people always bring up the famines as points against socialism when, like, socialism ended the famines. It didn't necessarily cause them. Like, and really, besides, like, what? Russia and China, what other socialist countries have had famines from collectivization? Like, where I have famines in all the,
Oh, you're cutting out there, comrade. It sounds like you're going through the Matrix.
Damn.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah.
Caitlyn Bennett's team of hackers got him.
I think so.
Yeah, there's like about the history still trying to talk about the Xinjiang thing. There is a funny thing is that people always like call you a conspiracy theorist for questioning the Western narrative and like calling news report like CIA funded and shit. But like at the same time, as soon as you talk about China, they just assume that literally everything said or done by China is a lie, a deception, and they fall into complete like conspiratorial thinking as soon as they talk about China, like building fake cities and like changing their constitution to pretend like they like their minorities, but actually they oppress them and don't respect their constitution. And like, yeah.
Yeah, there's this one like bullshit thing, or like like you've heard that like foreign diplomats actually visited the re-education centers, and then they said that like it was fine, or whatnot, and then Bad Empanada, like I'm pretty sure you guys know him. I don't know if you do. I mean, he was pretty cool at first, but I mean now he's xenophobic and kind of sucks. So like he was saying like, oh, if like they could just like hide everything, right? I'm just like, are you serious, dude? Because like because foreign diplomats from like the EU were invited, they rejected, but I mean if they come, they're definitely gonna say some shit like, oh yeah, they're hiding it or something, in the same way that like they say about North Korea, oh these aren't real buildings, oh like they have a gun behind their head, like they're forced to smile or something, and if not, like they get sent to a labor camp. And it's honestly like super racist to say that, because it's like it's as if they can't smile off of like their own will, They can't just be happy with the system that they have and the one that they like fought and died for in
Yeah, they need the
the
West.
Korean War.
We need to civilize them, to show them the Western way.
Yeah, exactly. Like pretending like they're all like fucking drones. They can't really think of them. They can't really like think for themselves or whatnot. Like,
Oh
I've
yeah, I
always hated
remember
that.
a post like that. That was so racist. Like there was just a random picture, like taken by, I don't know, a tourist in North Korea in a train, and like a family smiling and just having a good time, and people were all like, that was set up. It's impossible. No one could smile living in North Korea, and yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like a racist trope. Yeah, you know, as far as like the Xinjiang thing, like I think it's interesting because a lot of the people critiquing this are like general leftist or progressive minded people. The right kind of doesn't seem to care about it as much. But you know, a lot of these people, I guess they would probably be against like mass incarceration and be for like prison reform. So like my question to them would be, well, if you're like over China, what would you do? Would you rather just throw these people in jail? Would you rather just kill them like the U.S. does? Or
Oh,
would you
actually,
rather
I
like
asked them.
reform them? And you
I
know,
actually asked them, and their solution is to just put in jail anyone who has committed a terrorist attack. Like if they bomb people, they go to jail. That's how justice works. You can't go anywhere against your will if you don't like, if you didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
So
you
if
should have asked them like,
I-
how do you get people to even like? I'm sorry for interrupting, but you should have asked them like, you know, how do you get people to actually admit that they bombed people
or assisted in it? Or, yeah. Yeah, and even then it's like, okay, well, you can send them to jail and lock them in a cell for like 24 hours a day. But like, wouldn't it be cool to teach them a skill? Wouldn't it be cool to try and like, you know, reform them? Like, I thought that was the whole idea. But if China does it, then it's bad. But
Yeah,
I mean,
but it has to be done voluntarily. Like, if you
Mhm.
force someone into a re-education camp or something, that's genocide. Even if the guy was saying, hey, yeah, I'm gonna bomb this fucking city tomorrow, and nope, you can't, like, well, that would be breaking their privacy if you were to see their messages and shit. So the only real solution is to wait for them to kill people, and then you can do something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of stuck in that like classic mindset of how to solve that problem. And they're probably not doing it like the best way we could do prison reform, but like I mean, I would love for prison reform to come here. So like the more countries trying to do it, the better, I think.
Yeah, and also I think like France and other European countries actually did the same thing, like at some point, and they were, all the articles were like, oh yeah, this progressive policy of reforming radical Islamists, and and now China does it. So.
I want to look those articles up. I could totally see that.
Yeah, and also like it's not only, you know, terrorism that was like, you know, a big problem of that region. It was also, you know, crime and drug abuse and whatnot. And it's like I think it's very naive of people to think that people are just going to want to volunteer to be reformed or whatnot. Like I mean, I'm not saying this is like literally every criminal, but just saying
I actually think a good part of these vocational centers are actually fully voluntary. I think, like for example, the ones they visited, like you remember this video from the BBC where they went there and yeah, they interviewed the guy and he said, yeah, the local policeman told me about this vocational center and he told me that I could learn things here. So I went there and now I'm learning and it's cool. That's what he was saying, basically. And yeah, they made it seem like he was lying, and they, you know, the gray images with the zooms on the security cameras and the barbed wire, and and also they said that they saw a graffiti saying like "help me" or something in the bathroom, but they didn't show it because it was like too sensitive or something.
Yeah, I mean they'll usually take like a lot of footage out of context. Hell, they're not even above like mistranslating people.
Yep,
There
they
have
did
been a lot of cases.
mistranslate in that video. They actually did mistranslate to make it like more ambiguous and more scary.
Yeah, I saw a video and it showed this article where it said like prisoners from Xinjiang like transported to work in a Nike factory or something like that. And they had the Chinese like translation under it. So I asked somebody from China to like translate it, and it said like seasonal workers moved temporarily to like work in factory or something like that. So I mean, you could say they're just lying, but you see that mistranslation stuff like all the time.
Also, I think someone has to bring up like how entitled like this thought process is, like, you know, because you're a tourist or something from like the Western countries, they're gonna build like a whole fake hospital or a fake like re-education center, and then like once you leave, it's back to business. Like, come on, like just to compensate for you.
Oh yeah, you always hear that like, oh well, you know, this person went to the USSR or to whatever country, but who knows if what they saw was really real. You always hear that term. Was it really real? And I just think that's always funny.
Well,
they showed that. Sorry, go on.
For when you're talking about tourists, it kind of makes sense what you're saying. But when you're talking about like international investigation and shit, like it somewhat makes sense, because like there is a lot of things that's at play. Like it could influence their future like relationships with other countries, and like they don't want to feed into the imperialist narrative. They want to limit that as much as possible. So it makes sense that for an international investigation they would actually like build something.
I don't know. It's like I was just thinking, like, you know, how entitled it is. It's like, you know, instead of building a for real hospital, you like just hire like a bunch of actors, and you have like a fake building and fake like equipment. Or like,
that remind me of that Reddit post. I don't know if you saw it. There was like a picture of a doctor with the traces of the mask on his face after like 13 hours nonstop of healing people for the pandemic. And like all the comments, he was white, like American, and all the comments were like, "Wow, he's so brave, a real hero." And then someone posted like basically the same thing, but they were Chinese instead, and they actually had spent more time healing people. And all the comments were like, "This is fake. This is a setup. It's not real."
Yeah,
Reddit.
no, it's some fucking disgusting shit. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, like, I don't know if this was in the interview or if it was like in some like fucking documentary, like shockumentary or something. Like, it was like, oh, like we're in this supermarket, but the food is fake, or like or it's not like for sale for like people of that country, of like the DPRK. I mean, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, I think that was an interview where he's like smashing the grapefruits and stuff. Yeah.
I actually never saw that movie. Like, have any of y'all?
I kept telling myself I wasn't gonna watch it, but I was just sitting there like trying to find a movie with my girlfriend, and we were like, let's just finally see it. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to see like, you know, what you would pretty much expect it to be, you know, that's pretty much what it is. But
I remember seeing
Oh, I know a fellow traveler was saying he wanted to like cut this around 2 hours to like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I saw where he was talking a bit in the chat, but
yeah, he actually just sent me a message telling me to end the stream in 10 minutes if he's not back.
Okay. Was there anything like we could that you guys wanted to say closing this out, and maybe we could cut it after that part?
Fuck ANCAPs, I guess. And yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll agree with that. How about you, Autobolshevik?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess if we're all principled Marxists over here, I guess apply Marxist thinking to everything. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't have too much to say. This is a long, long stream.
Yeah, I'm used to doing these a little shorter, but yeah, I feel that. But yeah, definitely some words of wisdom there. I appreciate like everybody chilling out with us and messaging us in the chat and everything. But yeah, we look forward to talking to. I'd look forward to talking to all y'all in the future. So yeah.
Yeah.
Peace, everybody.
I hope you'll have a great day.
Yeah.
God bless.
Have a great day.
Sorry about that, folks. Broadcast is over. Oh my god, end the fucking broadcast! Having trouble connecting. Are you oh